Lifestyle Chat channel, so I decided to film this video in TikTok, and I'm really actually not in the mood for doing a video ranting, talking, but I'm just here, I'm not doing much else, so I thought I might as well just get on with doing my video. So today I want to talk about why in the previous video I've said that one of my ambitions was to sing. So in this video I want to talk about my ambitions for singing and why this didn't happen, but what actually did happen. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about today. So in life I am a bit of a late starter with most things in my life. So for example, I was a late starter for relationships, and I don't even drive yet. And this is the same case with singing as well. I've always wanted to sing since I was younger. I've said in a previous video that I always wanted to sing, act and do modelling since I was really little. And basically I didn't pursue any form of like my singing ambitions until I was very late in my life, actually, until I was about 28. Prior to that, I think when I was around about 18, 19, I was when I was at college, I was singing a little bit with a band. My brother was in that band. There was this black girl, I think she was, anyway, yeah, so there was me, my brother, and this black girl on the drums. She was a really good drummer, and we made a bit of bit of a funk. The music, the songs that we were doing were really pretty good, and we performed them a little bit around. This was part of like a BTEC college that we was attending at the time. The songs were really good, kind of like neo soul funkish, yeah. But as usual, what usually happens with me is nothing really continued from that onwards. It just fizzled out. We never really continued on, after the college course. But that was when I was about 18, 19, I think, that sort of age, 20, 21, around then. Yeah, I think it was like 20, 21 actually. I think I was that sort of age. So, with me, basically, I've always thought, I don't know why I'm in this predicament now, because I thought I would have been a millionaire by now, or in a really top high-paying, high-salary job by now. But that just hasn't happened in my life. Yeah, I'm in my 40s now. Because I was always pretty straight-laced and pretty like straight and narrow, and I was just one of those people where I went to school, college, university. Straight after university, I got into work, supply teaching in schools, and I travelled a little bit. So, but by the time I kind of got to that stage, I was like, I went to Korea when I was like 26, came back when I was like 20, 27, 28. And that's when I decided to start pursuing my actual singing ambition, because I always said I was gonna, straight after college, I was gonna like start a band, because I always wrote poems and I always wrote songs. Start a band and be the lead singer and start gigging and performing around. So I did perform. I performed in my own shows, but that was more like musical theatre. It was more like acting, drama, yeah, with a bit of like singing was involved in that as well. But it wasn't like just singing like pop songs, like gigs. It was more part of a whole act, part of a whole show. So yeah, and the shows that I was performing, one of them, the producer of that show, he took quite a liking to me, and he started he motivated me to, he encouraged me to pursue like writing for theatre, So I got more involved in that, like writing for theatre, more so than singing. And it got to a point where basically I was talking a lot about going to Africa and going to Jamaica and this and that. It's like touring my written pieces of work, but nothing really became of that. So when this was happening, I could see that nothing was really happening in that direction. I says, well, this is all said and good that this dude is like encouraging my theatre writing, but actually deep down what I've always wanted to do is sing, and this guy, his son is very well known musician, and I did start to feel a little bit like this guy is just keeping me all exclusively to himself. I was thinking, why doesn't he let me meet his son and like maybe perform, like even if it's like backing vocals, with his son at some venues, in Birmingham and around Birmingham, London, wherever. But maybe that was for me to make that initiation and approach that dude, which I never did. But anyway, my point is that I just felt like this other dude, like he just was like trying to keep me all exclusively like to himself or something. So anyway, because of this, I started to realise and think, well, I've always wanted to sing, so I need to like do something about it. So this was like, what happened? I went to Korea for a year teaching, and then I came back and continued like supply teaching. I put on this show. It was like 3 months in production, and one of the females in the show, the after show party, she was there with her partner, her boyfriend, and was just like having conversation with him and telling him that I want to start singing, and he was like, okay, well, I'm actually in a band, and he was like, actually, I'm in 2 bands, and maybe you should come along and audition for one of them because we're looking for a singer. So I did that, and I went along, and I think what happened is I went along and they gave me on CD, a disc, some of their music to listen to and to go away and write some stuff to the music. And I think the second time I met them, I was performing like the stuff that I'd obviously come up with. And it was like live music, so they were all musicians. So I think one was like a saxophone player, one was a bassist, one was a flutist, and one on djembe drums. Yeah, so it was a bit like that. It was very sort of like world music, kind of world with a bit like Latin kind of vibe, sort of. And world music, kind of world with a bit like Latin kind of vibe, sort of. And I was doing, they didn't seem like they hated what I was doing. It was just a bit like, okay, just kind of neutralish, like that. So I was like, okay. So I don't think I was quite, I think just maybe what I came up with, there was not expecting. I think there was just expecting something different, maybe. I think that's maybe what it was. So basically, from this time in that band, I started dating one of the musicians, basically, and I was in a long and off relationship with this guy that I started dating, and so I thought that him being a creative person and a musician, and me being quite a creative person and a singer, I thought we would have collaborated on something, together in terms of music. And to cut very long story short, with this dude, what I found was that anytime we'd get together and sort of work on stuff. To cut a long story short, I think we just figured out that we had different ideas in terms of music. Not necessarily musical tastes, because some of our tastes were similar and some of our tastes were very different. So we had a lot of discussions about this. And yeah, I think just that we just had different inclinations. We had different ideas about musically and maybe where he wanted to go, the direction he wanted to go in, and the direction I wanted to go in. But as well as that, I just always felt a little bit with this dude, whenever me and him would work on something, it was just part of his personality and his sense of humour, that I just found he was always kind of like patronising me a little bit, but doing it on purpose. But that was his way of being funny. So what I mean, for example, he always liked to make out like, well, he's the musician, and you know, he's got his degree in musicology, so he's the expert in music. You know, he knows all about music. And I did used to find that when me and him would work together, I did find this coming out in his attitude a little bit, as if to say, well, I'm the expert and you're just like messing about, kind of thing. You're just playing around, aren't you? Even though I had the same education as him, and I had just as much experience as him, if not more, of performing publicly in live shows. I had actually more experience than him, but I think he just had this idea in his head that he was the expert and he knew more than me about music. So I did used to find that humorously, it was a bit of like his sense of humour. I think he just, when me and him would work on things, he just kind of would always have this air of like, what I mean is he'd start playing all this like Hare Krishna music on his guitar, you know, and being really cheesy, like playing all this like cheesy music, and then kind of being like, okay, well, you know, come on, sing along to this then. Just being like really cheesy. But then when he'd be with his other musician friends in the recording studio or at his jamming sessions and his rehearsals, he'd behave himself, you know, and he'd play properly, like proper music. Yeah, but when he was with me, he'd just play all this cheesy vibes, you know. Or I remember one time he put on this video. He was showing me this video of the Muppets, and there was this really like classy singer. She was so classy, like with her hair and really glamorous and everything. And then somebody in the background was like Kermit the Frog, and it was showing like, you know, she was like the leader, she was the one in front, and she was being all like serious, singing, looking all glamorous and everything. But then the musician behind her was like a Muppet, like Kermit the Frog. So I think that was his way of saying, oh yeah, like, you know, you want to be like the lead, like singer, being all glamorous, and I'm just like your musician behind you, aren't I? Like just making you look good. Yeah, like we're just like Muppets. You just need some musicians to be Muppets to make you look good. So this is what I mean. Whereas like his sense of humour, yeah, it was just, and he was all, whenever me and him would work on something, that's how he would be. But then, you know what guys are like, or when, you know, they're a little bit narcissistic, they always like to make out like, oh no, I'm not being like that. But you can see that that's how they're being. Like, they're being funny, but if you confront them about it, they're like, no, what are you talking about? What's your problem? It's your problem. But that's blatantly how he was being. So, this was, you know, how the relationship was going with me and him, and me pursuing my musical interests, you know, with this dude. Obviously, like I said, I had other things going on at the time in my life as well. So, in all honesty, so I'd never really performed like singing before, and singing is just something I've always been quite apprehensive about. It gets me quite nervous, like singing publicly, you know, singing in front of other people, kind of thing. So my approach was, you know what, I thought I was very relaxed about it. I was very relaxed, very easygoing. I thought, you know what, I need to kind of build up my repertoire and build up my performance experience. So I'll just have fun, I'll take it quite easy going and relaxed and have fun while doing it. Meet some people, meet some musicians, maybe sing some covers, learn how to kind of improvise, and work on my own songs as well. But deep down, I would say I'm more of a singer-songwriter than a singer, just like a singer to perform. I'm more of like a singer-songwriter. So deep down, I always knew I had specific songs that I wanted personally to work on myself. And so this is how it was going. This is what was happening. That whenever I'd approach musicians or be in this kind of setting, like a jamming session or something, I never wanted to be sort of like forcing the issue. I never wanted to be like a Hitler dictatorship and be like, okay, well, this is my songs and this is what I'm doing and you must be on board. Because, you can't approach a situation like that, especially if you are like gaining experience and confidence building yourself. I was just more so like going with the flow. This is what was happening. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pause this video and carry it on later. But if you are in my life, if you're on my page, thank you very much for listening and tuning in. And I'm talking about my previous singing ambitions. And what you can do is go on YouTube and check out my channel. It's called Lifestyle Chav Chat. 8461, something like that. Lifestyle Chav Chat is the name of my channel. And you can go on my channel and see some more of my rants. Thank you very much. I'm going to pause this live now and then I'm going to continue it later because I've got things to do now. See you later. Hope you're having a good and blessed day. Adios, ciao, bye bye.